On March 17, 2018, the quiet community of Pinewood Valley, nestled deep within the Appalachian Mountains of West Virginia, was shaken by the sudden disappearance of 23-year-old Sarah Blackwood. Located approximately 137 miles from Charleston, this isolated settlement of just 214 residents had remained largely unchanged for generations, its remoteness serving as both protection and prison for those who called it home. Sarah was the granddaughter of Elijah Blackwood, the 82-year-old patriarch who had maintained rigid control over the extended Blackwood family since 1972. According to local records, Elijah had established what he called the Family Preservation Code after returning from the Vietnam War, declaring that all Blackwood descendants must marry within the family or closely allied families to protect their heritage and bloodline. The morning of her disappearance, Sarah had been scheduled to meet with a real estate agent in the neighboring town of Millerton, 26 miles away. Her cousin and fiancé, Thomas Blackwood, reported that she had left their shared cabin at approximately 6:45 a.m., driving her 2009 Ford Focus along the winding mountain roads. The weather that day was unseasonably cold for March, with light fog and intermittent rain creating hazardous driving conditions. By nightfall, with temperatures dropping to 28 degrees and concern mounting, Thomas finally reported Sarah missing. Local sheriff's deputies noted that the report came nearly 12 hours after she had failed to return, an unusual delay that would later become significant to investigators. Initial search efforts focused on the treacherous mountain roads between Pinewood Valley and Millerton, with particular attention to several steep ravines along Route 41. What made Sarah's disappearance particularly alarming was that she was the third Blackwood to vanish in the past decade. In 2009, her cousin Rebecca Blackwood, 19, had disappeared while allegedly running away from an arranged marriage. 4 years later, in 2013, another cousin, Michael Blackwood, 27, vanished after reportedly expressing interest in attending college outside the state, a direct violation of Elijah's strict family codes. The early searches revealed no sign of Sarah's vehicle, no skid marks indicating an accident, and no witnesses who recalled seeing her on the road that morning. What investigators did discover, however, was that Sarah had recently opened a secret bank account and had withdrawn $4,300 2 days before her disappearance, facts unknown to both Thomas and Elijah. If you want to follow more cases like this, that shake entire communities and reveal hidden truths, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any investigation. The official investigation into Sarah Blackwood's disappearance quickly expanded beyond a simple missing person case. West Virginia State Police Detective Lauren Martinez was assigned as lead investigator, having previously worked on cases involving isolated religious communities. Her first observations upon arriving in Pinewood Valley on March 19, 2018, were documented in her official report. Community displays characteristics consistent with significant isolation and internal governance structures. Multiple residents refused to speak with law enforcement without permission from community elders. The Blackwood family compound, spanning approximately 320 acres of densely wooded mountain terrain, consisted of 14 separate households, all connected by private dirt roads and exclusively occupied by blood relatives or those who had married into the family. Detective Martinez noted that Elijah Blackwood's home stood at the center, positioned on the highest ground, a physical manifestation of his authority over the family. Initial interviews with family members revealed carefully rehearsed responses. Thomas Blackwood maintained that Sarah had been excited about purchasing property in Millerton, which directly contradicted statements from Elijah claiming she had only been looking at land for family expansion purposes. When confronted with this discrepancy, Thomas modified his statement, claiming he had misunderstood Sarah's intentions. The investigation's first significant break came on March 23rd, when Sarah's Ford Focus was discovered in the parking lot of a bus terminal in Charleston. Security footage showed a woman matching Sarah's description purchasing a ticket to Indianapolis at 11:42 a.m. on March 17th. Though her face was obscured by a hooded jacket, the woman had paid cash and used the name Jane Smith. On March 25th, investigators gained access to Sarah's medical records, revealing that she had visited a clinic in Millerton twice in the previous month. Dr. Eleanor Phillips confirmed that Sarah had been seeking information about genetic counseling services, expressing concerns about family hereditary issues. This raised immediate red flags for investigators familiar with the implications of multi-generational consanguineous marriages. Further investigation uncovered a troubling pattern. Through interviews with former Blackwood family members who had left the community, detectives learned that Elijah had established a complex system of arranged marriages, beginning in 1972, shortly after inheriting the family property. According to these testimonies, he maintained detailed genealogical charts and designated appropriate matches for each family member reaching marrying age, typically pairing first or second cousins. By April 2018, investigators had identified 7 former family members who had attempted to leave the community between 1975 and 2017. 5 had been retrieved and brought back, while 2, including Rebecca and Michael, had never been found. Those who had been returned described a systematic approach to tracking down and recovering wayward family members, involving multiple family members working in coordination. A forensic examination of Sarah's abandoned vehicle yielded trace evidence that would later prove crucial. Fibers caught in the trunk latch matched carpeting from Thomas's cabin, and soil samples from the tire treads contained mineral compositions inconsistent with the route to Millerton, but matching a rarely used logging road on the far side of the Blackwood property. Meanwhile, electronic surveillance authorized on April 10th captured several concerning phone conversations between Elijah and Thomas. In one particularly notable exchange on April 12th, Elijah stated, "The problem has been handled like the others. The family line is secure." When Thomas expressed concern about questions from outsiders, Elijah responded, "They found nothing before. They'll find nothing now." On May 17, 2018, exactly 2 months into the investigation, Detective Martinez made a critical breakthrough. A former high school teacher of Sarah's came forward with a letter Sarah had mailed to her 3 days before her disappearance. In this 5-page handwritten document, Sarah detailed her growing horror at discovering the true nature of her family's genetic history and her plans to escape the community permanently. According to the letter, Sarah had secretly obtained DNA testing through an online service, which confirmed her suspicions about the devastating health consequences of generations of consanguineous marriages. She wrote, "The children are suffering from diseases that shouldn't exist anymore. Elijah knows this, but he claims it's God's test of our family's strength. I can't be part of creating more suffering. I will not marry Thomas, even if it costs me everything." The letter also contained alarming allegations about the fates of other family members who had attempted to leave. Sarah claimed that Rebecca and Michael had not successfully escaped, but had been dealt with for threatening to expose the family to outside authorities. Most disturbingly, she referenced the old mine shafts on the North Ridge, where family secrets stay buried. Armed with this new information, investigators obtained a warrant to search the abandoned coal mines on the northern portion of the Blackwood property. The complex contained dozens of shafts, many dating back to the early 1900s and extending hundreds of feet into the mountainside. On May 23rd, using ground-penetrating radar and cadaver dogs, the search team made a grim discovery in a sealed shaft approximately 40 feet below ground: human remains. Forensic anthropologists recovered the remains of 5 individuals from the mine shaft. Through dental records and DNA testing, 2 were quickly identified as Rebecca and Michael Blackwood. The other 3 bodies were determined to be Blackwood family members, previously reported as moved away in 1987, 1994, and 2001, respectively. All 5 displayed evidence of blunt force trauma to the skull. While the investigation at the mine continued, another team executed a search warrant at Thomas's cabin on May 25th. Hidden beneath the floorboards of a storage shed, they discovered Sarah's personal documents, including her birth certificate and driver's license, along with a journal containing detailed accounts of physical and psychological abuse within the family structure. Most significantly, they found photographs documenting severe birth defects in several Blackwood children, born between 1990 and 2015. On June 2nd, following an extensive interstate search, Sarah Blackwood was located alive in Denver, Colorado. She had traveled there using a fake ID provided by a women's advocacy group specializing in helping people escape from controlling family situations. In her initial statement to FBI agents, Sarah revealed that she had been planning her escape for nearly 2 years having realized the truth about her family's practices after taking a college biology course online. Leave in the comments. Never give up on the truth if you believe all missing persons deserve to be found. The full picture of the Blackwood family's isolated community emerged through Sarah's testimony and subsequent investigations, revealing a disturbing history that had remained hidden for nearly 5 decades. Following his return from Vietnam in 1971, Elijah Blackwood had experienced what family members described as a spiritual awakening, convinced that the outside world was destined for collapse. Leveraging his position as the inheritor of significant family property, he gradually established complete control over his extended family. By 1975, Elijah had implemented rigid rules governing all aspects of family life, but his most disturbing mandate was the preservation of bloodlines through arranged marriages between relatives. County records revealed that between 1972 and 2018, there had been 31 marriages within the Blackwood family, all performed by Elijah himself under a religious exemption that allowed him to act as an ordained minister. Sarah's testimony provided the most damning evidence. According to her statements, Elijah maintained detailed records of each family member's bloodline purity and arranged marriages specifically to strengthen desired traits. She described witnessing multiple instances where family members who threatened to leave were subjected to intimidation, isolation, and ultimately violence if they persisted. In at least 7 cases that Sarah knew of personally, these individuals had disappeared after making final attempts to escape. On July 14, 2018, in a coordinated operation involving multiple law enforcement agencies, arrests were made of 11 Blackwood family members, including Elijah and Thomas. The charges ranged from kidnapping and false imprisonment to murder, conspiracy, and abuse. During the arrests, investigators discovered an elaborate surveillance system throughout the compound, allowing Elijah to monitor family members' movements and conversations from his central residence. The medical examination of the 26 children living in the compound revealed that 17 suffered from genetic disorders consistent with consanguineous reproduction, including rare recessive conditions that had gone untreated. Child Protective Services removed all minors from the property, placing them with specialized foster families and initiating comprehensive medical treatment programs. The trial began on March 5, 2019, drawing national media attention to the remote community. Prosecutors presented 1,743 pieces of evidence, including Elijah's handwritten family code that explicitly outlined punishment for those who violated his rules. Most disturbing was his journal entry from 1972 stating, "The outside blood weakens us. Only through purity can we survive what's coming. Those who threaten our purity threaten our survival and must be removed." On September 17, 2019, after a 6-month trial, Elijah Blackwood was found guilty on all counts and sentenced to life imprisonment without possibility of parole. Thomas Blackwood received 40 years for his role in multiple disappearances. 9 other family members received sentences ranging from 10 to 25 years for various crimes related to the conspiracy. In the aftermath, Sarah Blackwood established the Family Freedom Foundation, an organization dedicated to helping people escape from isolated, controlling family situations. Through her advocacy, West Virginia implemented new legislation in 2021 requiring enhanced oversight of isolated religious communities and improved protocols for investigating disappearances from such groups. The Blackwood property was eventually seized by the state and converted into a rehabilitation center for survivors of similar family structures, providing therapeutic services and educational opportunities. The mine shaft where the remains were discovered was permanently sealed and marked with a memorial to those who had lost their lives. Today, 5 years after her escape, Sarah continues to speak about her experiences, helping authorities identify and intervene in similar situations across the country. Her testimony has directly contributed to the rescue of 37 individuals from comparable family structures and the prosecution of 14 other family patriarchs who maintained similar practices. If you watched all the way through, it's because you care about these cases that mark families forever. Leave a comment saying, "I watched until the end," so I can get to know you and know who really cares about the search for truth. Don't forget to like this video and share it with someone who appreciates in-depth investigations. Subscribe to the channel for more cases that reveal the hidden darkness that sometimes lurks in the most isolated corners of our society.